Historically, we've seen the plaintiff's bar peak interest when the breaches are large, when you have a 4 million record breach, a 45 million record breach, etc. Obviously, those size cases are going to be of great interest to the plaintiff's bar, and it's not real hard to find plaintiffs' counsel who are willing to step up and go after those breaches and sue everybody they can figure out who to sue. In particular, the entity that was supposed to be controlling and protecting that data. But what we're seeing is, as the plaintiff's bar becomes more aware of this type of litigation, more aware of its ability to bring pressure to bear and have settlements, regardless of the fact if there ultimately are damages available or not, they have been able to position themselves in such a way that the smaller and smaller breaches are now becoming attractive. I'll give you an example. Yeah, it's easy when it's $1 million and above to suggest that that's a valuable breach to a plaintiff's lawyer who can get in front of it and become one of the lead firms on it. How about 10,000 people? You would think 10,000 records in the scheme of record loss is not significant. Well, think about it this way. If you have a 10,000 record loss, take one person in that group. One person will spend easily $100 to monitor their credit for a year. It's actually quite a bit higher, but let's call it $100. Let's say that same person might spend an hour a month monitoring their credit. Now, if there's somebody who's really going to pay attention, one hour a month checking your credit scores, etc., certainly not a stretch. So instead of 12 months, again, call it 10, and let's call it $10 an hour. So now you're at another $100. So you've got $100 for monitoring in a year for that person, and you've got $100 time in a year for that person. Then you take privacy theft insurance that you can get as an individual, call it another $100. These are all low estimates, but for the sake of argument, you've got $300 for that one person for that 1 year. Times it by 10,000. Now you're at $3 million. Now, consider the fact that the FTC has made companies who have had data breaches take certain steps for the next 20 years. So now you have a federal agency recognizing that when someone loses specific data, your mother's maiden name, your social security number, that data gets lost, you can't recreate it, you can't change it, it is what it is. And the FTC, by making companies do certain tasks for 20 years, is a federal organization recognizing that data loss is not a one-year calculation. It's really a lifetime calculation. And in any given pool, in our pool of 10,000, I would bet you that the average lifespan of those 10,000 people is significantly higher than 20 years remaining in their lives. But let's use 20 because the feds do. You take the 20, you times it by the 3 million we were already at a moment ago, now you're at $60 million. That's $60 million using conservative numbers, using federal arguments in a federal court. The argument that we've seen before, time is not money. The federal courts largely have said if your only damages is that you have to spend time monitoring it, we don't believe that that's enough to get you through summary judgment or some dispositive motion. Well, there's new federal legislation that says otherwise. There's federal law that says in the context of a criminal case, if someone steals your data and then we catch them and we arrest them, and they actually have assets, granted not likely, but if they do, you have a right to sue them for the time you lost dealing with these problems that they've caused you. It doesn't require identity theft, it just requires that you spent that time. Well, that's a federal law in the world of data saying your time has value. In the world of professional services, I think that it gets easier and easier to contemplate a court, some court, the right circuit will say it, whether it's the Ninth or some other circuit, and they're going to say, you know what, time is money, it's enough. And so when that last wall comes down, these cases are going to go through the roof in terms of frequency or severity.